Hello and welcome to Symphony Uncensored, the show where we talk about all things classical music in a very unclassical way. We're your hosts, Khim Oei and Gaiatri Vijay. Hi there and welcome to another episode of Symphony Uncensored. I'm Khim.
I'm Gayatri. Hello.
And today's episode, we're going to cover some of these points. Firstly, whether or not your child is musical and how do you know? And when it comes to child prodigies, is it nature or nurture? And what you can do to help your child fulfill his or her dream of being a musician, and also what it's like to be a parent of a prodigy.
As we unpack these topics, we're also going to hear from parents of actual prodigies right here in Singapore. You'll all have heard, of course, of Chloe Chua. She's a very accomplished violinist. Currently, she's SSO's artist in residence. She's got a whole slew of performances coming up later this year. She's won tons of awards, and she has been playing the piano since she was 2.5 before pivoting to the violin at the age of 4.
And we are also going to hear about Kevin Loh, guitarist, talent spotted by Yehudi Menuhin School at just 12 years old. He's performed worldwide, won prizes in many prestigious classical guitar competitions.
Both Chloe and Kevin have really received their parents' wholehearted support from the time they first picked up their instruments. Today we're going to chat with Chloe's mom, Eng Lee, and Kevin's dad, Marcus. And throughout the episode, we're going to hear a little bit about their backgrounds in music and how they guided their children along their musical journeys. We're very grateful to both of you for coming on. Both Chloe and Kevin are really, coming a very long way, and we've literally seen them since they were little kids, and that's quite fascinating to us. So we thought we would take you guys through a few questions and hopefully get your insights as parents.
Yeah, but I think it always stems from the parent themselves. I mean, we look at examples of course, this is, from way back, Beethoven, Mozart. It's always the parents. So I have a strong suspicion that both of you are musically inclined too. Am I right?
Well, I have a master degree in music.
Was it in a particular instrument, Eng Lee, or generally in
piano?
In piano.
I play the piano.
Because I think I read somewhere that Chloe first started the piano when she was 2.5.
Yeah. Because I was teaching at home.
And how about you, Marcus? Yes. You are musically inclined. I hear you play the guitar very well.
Thank you, but I'm a great list player. Unlike as I was saying, I picked up the guitar. I'm self-taught when I was 13 because there was a guitar lying around the house. Nobody was using it, so I decided to do the brute force way and just started playing. So I managed to pick it up and start playing.
Wow.
Well, we just heard from both Marcus and Eng Lee, who have musical backgrounds, but it's really interesting to look back in history too and see whether it was, similar for other well-known composers. And that too leads us to wonder, is it a case of having good genes?
For example, everyone knows Johann Sebastian Bach, but did you know that his father, Johann Ambrosius Bach, was also musically gifted? He was the court trumpeter, he was the director of the town musicians, and his talent was clearly genetic as well. He had 8 children, and 4 of them became musicians, not just the great Johann Sebastian. And Johann Sebastian himself went on to have a whole host of children who were musically talented too.
What about Leopold Mozart, the father of the famous Wolfgang Amadeus? Well, he was a talented musician himself. He pushed his son to excel from a very young age and even arranged concerts and tours for him throughout Europe, right?
That's right. So, when it comes to child prodigies, it's almost always the parents who first spot that musical talent and start to encourage it, whether it's by arranging the music lessons for their children or teaching the kid themselves if they happen to be musical.
Okay, why don't we hear from Eng Lee and Marcus again and find out when that aha moment was with their own children and how they got them started on their musical journeys. In Kevin's case, how the Rolling Stones played a part. Can you, tell us how you first discovered that your children were musical and talented?
Chloe shows interest in piano playing when she was around 2.5, and then I started to teach her, give her some piano lessons, and then I find that she can remember the tunes very fast, and she has perfect pitch. Yeah. So, but then to me, there are many children that has this ability. So it's really, a little special, but nothing that special.
But I think
At that point in time.
it needs a musical mother or father to know that their child has perfect pitch in the first place. Yeah, right? Because I would.
I tested her.
Okay.
Do you have perfect pitch yourself, Eng Lee?
No.
How about you, Marcus? So how did you discover that
Well,
Kevin is musical?
actually, guitar is not his first instrument. Violin is his first instrument.
I see.
So I same for violin lessons at 4. We heard about the Suzuki violin method. So, I attended a concert. I thought, hey, this is an interesting method. So we sent him there. After 3 months, he got kicked out because he was like jumping around and all that. And then when I realized that the Suzuki method, I thought, hey, maybe there's a Suzuki guitar method, right? So I researched a little bit and started to realize that there's such a method. There were content available. I imported the content. And because I played a little bit, I decided to use that as a family bonding activity. Not so much, So we started playing every day, bit by bit. And at that point, I didn't really realize, that he would go that far, right? I mean, I just let things move along. So I think one thing led to another. He was outplaying me by, certain age. Then maybe I thought maybe he's okay, not too bad. But I think the breakthrough came when the Menuhin School dropped us a note saying that, hey, I saw a couple of the videos of Kevin online, and we would like to invite him for an audition in the UK.
How old was Kevin at that time?
12. He was 12. Right. And then we decided to take a family vacation, and he can go for his audition in the school, and then we have a vacation, and he got accepted, and that's where everything started.
I'm curious about the YouTube videos, Marcus. How did those come about? Did he want to do that on his own, or something that you encouraged him to do?
Well, because along the way, we started playing as a duet, right? Because I was his his first teacher, and then we started playing. We joined the Toa Payoh Guitar Club, which is the longest standing club in Singapore, still there. I was a member when I was 12 as well. And then we started playing there, and one thing led to another. We got invited to play in some fundraising concerts and so forth. Then we thought, hey, maybe we want to share this, recorded the videos, uploaded onto YouTube. As you know, I have an IT background. I was interested in, video editing as well. And that's how it all started. Each time when you play, you have a target. Hey, should we record this? And, have some fun with it. So that's how it started. So we started recording, and Menuhin School chanced upon the videos and decided to contact us. Also, the interesting thing was that we all know that musical education can be expensive as well. So what happened was, at that point, actually Menuhin School, Rolling Stones actually gave a bursary to all the classical guitarists in the school. So he had gotten a bursary from the Rolling Stone, the group itself, not the magazine.
Oh, right.
And also we're fortunate to have the HSBC award, the Young Artist Award as well, that enable us to actually send him there as well.
Yeah, the Rolling Stones are a pop group.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But they paid for the Menuhin School.
Correct. Yeah. For only the guitar students.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
And Eng Lee, Chloe was in the NAFA Young Talents program, right? Was that,
Yes.
Did she audition for it, was invited to audition, or something that you encouraged her to try for?
No, actually, when she was at the end of the three years old, I began to see that she has interest in piano. And then so I was thinking that because being a single child, she can get a bit lonely at home. So I was thinking maybe it's a good idea to send her to NAFA for the piano course. So it was only during the inquiry I found that actually the intake for the piano course was at 5 years old, but she was only like going to 4. So at the same time, I also found out that there's this violin course that the intake is at 4 years old. So I said, okay, why not send her to the violin first and to see whether she enjoys, she likes the environment and the course itself. Yeah, and then maybe if she likes the environment, then she can proceed to the next year, maybe audition for the piano, and which she did. And there was about like 3 years time, she was in NAFA for both courses.
Well, so if Chloe had perfect pitch, at 2, would you say, because, we want to talk about the whole idea of whether musical talent is a nature thing or is it nurture?
Yeah, I think it's mainly because she all the time she has been listening to classical music since very young. So yeah, it's almost like a everyday thing. Yeah, so when she sleeps, as a baby, when she sleeps, right, I will put the music on. So I think that has something to do with it.
So we talked about having a musical parent, whether or not it might lead to a child being born with some natural musical talent. But sometimes they're even born with unique musical gifts, which their parents may not even share, like Chloe's perfect pitch.
I have perfect pitch too, but I'm obviously no prodigy, which, just brings us to the next aspect of this conversation, that just because you might be born with a musical gene or have a gift like perfect pitch, that's not enough in itself to create an incredible performer, a musician. There's a lot more that goes into it. And when it comes to young children, it's very often the parents who take on that burden of cultivating their children's gift, getting the right teacher, making sure their kids practice enough, also, bringing balance into their children's lives, because they can't just be pure musicians and nothing else and not have a regular childhood. So in a moment, Eng Lee and Marcus are going to share with us how they both nurtured their kids' talents.
And in Chloe's case, she was talented at both the piano and the violin, but I think must have been a tough choice for her parents to decide, right? Which one to let her pursue. And Kevin was playing the guitar, an instrument that isn't commonly pursued professionally in Singapore. So in the absence of a formal syllabus or path, Marcus also had to get creative and take extra steps to help Kevin grow as a musician.
So I guess at a certain age, for both your children, you realized that they really did have something special. They were exceptionally gifted. And so did that come with extra practice hours for them? Like, we were wondering, how did you balance their enthusiasm and their passion for music with other activities and commitments that young children have?
That's quite a challenge, right?
Yeah, after Chloe got into the NAFA SYT for both courses. Like for the piano, after the end of the first term, her teacher already told me that she has a potential to go into the piano career if she wants to. And then when she started lessons with her present violin teacher, Mr. Inker, she has been with him for about 10 years already. After she started lesson with him for half a year, he also told me the same thing. So it's from their confirmation that I begin to think of the possibility for her to enter to do music seriously. Then gradually, I found that the violin, she progressed faster in the violin than the piano. So then the teacher was like discussing with me that maybe she should stop the piano lesson for a while and just focus in violin so that he can prepare her for the international competition. So then that's how it all started.
So there's just a more than just a parent-child thing. It's a tripartite.
Yeah, the teacher is very much involved as well.
Yes.
Whereas I can imagine for you, for Marcus, it would be a slightly different journey with Kevin. Could you share a little bit about what it was like for him?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's because unlike violin, piano, very established musical instruments, guitar pedagogy, it's much later. And in Singapore, I don't think you can find, very many folks who have gone through the conservatory route and be teaching in Singapore. Example, YST still doesn't have a guitar program, for example, at this point. So for me, it's more free and easy. Right, I spoke about, we treated that as a family project. So, I mean, we do play every day. That's where the improvement comes, right? So we make it fun and we try all kinds of songs, not only classical, but we try jazz as well. And I did find him a teacher, just because I'm not doing it full time. So the teachers has more repertoire to go with him. But primarily after that, it's again the commitment of the parent. I'm sure Eng Lee knows this very, very well as well. I'll spend time with him at home, going through the repertoire, plus introduce some fun things where I can join in and play as well. Oh, yeah. So and what I do is really to get real help. Sometimes when international artists comes through, I would reach out to them for private master classes, and through that relationship, some of them have invited Kevin for summer workshops, and I find that a very nice project and experience, because in summer I would go with him to like Spain, to France, and he would go for his workshop. I'll be enjoying, nightly concerts, with other people. Yeah, so that's how things went for Kevin in terms of his the instruction that we get from an international audience, more from that rather than a local instructors and teachers.
Wow, if I think about it, really, really, from what I hear, parents have to be in it 100%, maybe 110, 120.
It sounds like a full-time job raising a prodigy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Gayatri, my time is over. I've raised my kids, but I think, if you want to raise some musical prodigies, do it,
Get on it
now.
But, sometimes certain kinds of parents can take nurture to a whole other level.
Tiger parents, Gayatri, they're called.
Yeah, that is okay. So let's define what is a tiger parent. I think the globally accepted definition is someone who is extremely strict with their children.
Yeah. Not the two parents that we've spoken to. I think they sound
quite the opposite.
Yeah, but. Well, often they're seen as talking about tiger parents, they're often seen as an Asian thing, like Amy Chua, for example. Amy Chua, she's not a classical musician herself, but she's the author of the controversial book, Battle Hymn of the Tiger Mother. Remember that book?
Yeah, that's right. And she was really tough on her daughters, and she was very honest about that in her book as well. Mm. And both of the daughters, I think, turned out to be accomplished musicians.
That's right. Vanessa Mae's mom too. She's also a tiger mom.
Another Asian example. I think her mother gave an interview when she said that she herself had been parented very strictly. So by Vanessa Mae's grandmother, she said her own mother used to beat her up, and she was so grateful for that. So she was grateful for the discipline, and because of that, because of her childhoods of canings and strict disciplining, she took the same approach with Vanessa Mae herself. And of course, we all know that Vanessa Mae was very successful at an early age.
Well, not just tiger moms, there's tiger dads too, remember? Like Lang Lang's father, when he was 9, Lang Lang was told by his father to kill himself after his teacher fired him for having no talent. You know that?
Oh my goodness, that is beyond dramatic. Can you imagine hearing that from your own parent, let alone from anybody? Like, even if it was the teacher who said such a thing, that would be horrific. But to hear it from your own dad.
I know, right? Beethoven's father also, Johann, he was trying to emulate Leopold Mozart's success with Mozart. So actually, he's not just an Asian thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a tough parent thing, people who are determined to raise prodigies, but at quite a cost, I can imagine. And, Beethoven's dad apparently would just sit him down and force him to practice hours and hours and hours a day, really grueling. Lots of other historical tiger parents as well. Sergei Rachmaninoff's mom, she's known for being highly critical, very demanding of her son's musical abilities.
But look where he got to.
So you wonder, right? Like, is it because they were so strict, or would they have made it anyway? I think there has to be a line, you don't really want to.
You don't want to break their spirit.
Yeah, you don't want to crush them when they're so young. But at the same time, when kids are young, they do need some guidance. They might need a firm hand in certain instances. When you're little, there's loads of distractions. You might want to go out and play. You might want to do your own thing. It's hard to sit down at an instrument and dedicate hours a day.
Yeah, not every child is born with discipline in their blood.
Fair enough.
Well, I think practice is the other thing. It's a big part of developing the technique needed to excel, right? In any instrument or skill for that matter, no matter how strong the genetic disposition might be. Okay, so let's hear from Eng Lee and Marcus again about getting the practice hours in and their views on tiger parenting.
How many hours a day would you say Kevin and Chloe were practicing for, let's say, while they were still in school, like up to the age of about 12? How many hours a day roughly would they be practicing their instruments?
When she first started, I think she only practiced about like 1 hour per day. Yeah, and then until 6 plus, then she began to increase to 2 hours. So it was only until when she decided to join competition at age 10, then she really like have some 4 hours to 5 hours practice daily.
But she took it well.
Yeah.
As in, like, no protests, no, outbursts, no tantrums.
No, not really. Yeah, because she wanted to join competition. To her, it's fun. It's like a game. So then she knows that she has to practice if she wanted to join the competition.
Yeah, I think that's really what's very important, and what distinguishes the tiger parents from parents like you who are very nurturing and supportive of your children's talents.
So would you say, either of you, is there a little tiger in you somewhere? Dare I ask that question?
Basically, she needs to do all the corrections that the teacher wants her to do. So usually I will attend a lesson with her, and then I will just jot down the things that she needs to correct. So my role is to help her to do the corrections. We are very lucky to have a good teacher.
From my point of view, it's like, whether is it musical instruments or not, I think there's a tiger in all parents, right? Because you want them to do well, right? So it could be maths, it could be PSLE. So yeah, at times you need to instill some kind of a discipline in them, not necessarily because of the instrument itself. I think it's the journey of growing up. So at times, we want to instill that practice in them. So regardless of what they do, that discipline bit is very important. But of course, we all try to strike that balance. I'm sure there'll be certain days where it's not your right day. You could maybe exert a bit more pressure, but otherwise you try and be as balanced as possible. I think that's the principle that we go through. And I think one of the things that a lot of parents also think about is, hey, do I want to take the risk and let them pursue like a professional career in music, right? For me, we didn't really think about that as well. It's really about, the journey of, the hard work that you actually put in, understand what it takes in terms of perseverance. You want to enjoy, if this is your passion, if you're given the opportunity. And if you so decide in the future, you want to choose something else, you understand that process of trying to be successful. These are the steps that you need, right? Because regardless of what you do, those basic fundamental things must be in place. Otherwise, talent alone doesn't just do it, right? There's a big portion of it's the hard work as well.
On the other hand, there are also lots of historical examples of parents who didn't want their kids to go down the musical route, like Johann Strauss, the famous composer responsible for writing the Radetzky March. Well, he's also the father of Johann Strauss Jr., the king of light music and operettas. But, despite Strauss, the eldest, musical background, he really wanted his son to become a banker, and gave him a whipping too when he discovered him practicing the violin in secret.
Oh gosh, but maybe that was just Tiger going in another direction. Be a banker. But Handel as well, like you said, a lot of composers' parents were verging on being pushy and pushing them. Handel's father wasn't at all keen on music. He was keen for his son to study law instead, and he banned him from playing instruments.
And then there are parents who encourage the children's talent in a more loving, non-tigery way. You know that? Vivaldi, for example, his father, Giovanni, was a barber before becoming a professional violinist. Now, he taught the young Antonio to play the violin to a virtuosic standard and even toured Venice with him.
Oh, I didn't know that. But I did hear about Franz Schubert. So Peter Schubert is the famous composer that we know, but his father, also a Franz Theodor, he was an accomplished musician, but he was a well-respected teacher in a school, and he taught his son at school in Vienna and taught him the basics of the violin as well. And when he realized that when Franz Schubert was getting to a certain stage where he couldn't teach him anymore, he passed him on to an even better teacher.
Gayatri, we're parents ourselves, and most parents who are not tiger parents will probably agree that you always want the best for your child. And not just that, you want to nurture their emotional well-being as well as their talents.
Yes.
When you're a child prodigy and you're training from a young age to study your instrument at a far higher level than the average kid, there's inevitably more pressure as well on your child. So parents have to deal with these additional challenges, I think.
Absolutely. Eng Lee and Marcus are going to tell us about some of the pressures that they faced and how they managed to keep some balance in their young children's lives. And also, as Chloe and Kevin are becoming young adults now, we're also interested to hear how they think their roles in their children's musical journeys will evolve.
And if you've got a child who's showing early signs of musical talent, you'll definitely want to hear their advice for other parents of musically gifted children.
So both the kids have been performing from quite a young age, and Chloe's been doing the competitions as well. Obviously, with giving stage performances and taking part in competitions, there's quite a bit of pressure involved in that as well. Did you find that there was pressure involved, and also how did your family deal with that and the challenges of performing and competing from a young age?
Yeah, there was definitely pressure, but we always try to balance it well, in the sense that we have to set priorities, so we can't have everything in life. So for her, we took her out from school for a while. Yeah, so she didn't attend school for a while, and so that, I think that gives us more time to practice and to prepare for the exam, the competition, and at the same time, she has time to relax, to do things that she likes, and think that is very important.
From my end, I think competition wasn't really priority for him at the beginning. He was just picking up stuff at the Menuhin school, and they were going through the fundamentals with him. And we only decided that, hey, we should explore competition when he was playing a full repertoire that is competition worthy. Then we decided to go for competition. Pressure will always be there. I think for both the player and the parent itself. When you're watching your kid play, you can hear all the small little mistakes, and then you're cringing. And sometimes my wife would be watching a live stream, and she can't go to sleep and all that. So I think we'll always be there, but it's the excitement, and whatever comes out of it, we know that it's just a journey. You win some, you lose some, but it's just all for the fun of it.
Do you have any advice for other parents who have musically talented children?
I think it's to cultivate the love, the passion for music, and that should be the main thing. For parents, I think maybe not to be overly anxious to see results. Just take things slowly and let the child develop naturally. Yeah, and then for the child, and for the child, it's also to let the child do things that he or she likes to do, and do not just concentrate on practice, and competition and things like that. To have a more balanced life.
Mm-hmm. So what are the future goals? Like, do you so Kevin is at what age now?
24, 25?
So, okay, so he's probably, in the position to make some decisions of his own. But nevertheless, as a parent, you're always a parent, no matter how old the child is. I've got children in their 30s, and I also am concerned about their goals. So what about you,
Well, I think at this juncture, he's deciding most of the things by himself. He knows exactly what he wants to do. As parents, again, we're just making sure that we support him in whatever way we can, whether, emotionally, or maybe at this point still, he's still in school, right? Sometimes financially, for you to attend competition, you need to be able to provide that support as well. So we try our best to provide that so that he can achieve it, the outcome he wants. So yeah, he's more or less on his own. I would say he's a young man now. He's independent with his own thought process.
Chloe is 16, and what is it like, for you? Because it's going to be hard, and moreover, I don't know whether I'm stereotyping, but moreover, she's a girl. How do you, let her transition? When do you let go? What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, we are preparing for her to go overseas for further studies, maybe in a year or two. Yeah, then I'll be probably accompany her to look after her for a while, and to make sure that she could be independent, do things on their own and get familiar with the environment, make friends and things like that. And then gradually, then I think I'll let go and then let her be on her own.
It's a big step, though.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's a big step.
It is. One more piece to this puzzle when it comes to raising a prodigy is really, I think, Khim, the teacher. It's so important to have a good teacher.
I think so too. But, there are lots of examples of tiger teachers in the historic classical music world, right? Like Nadia Boulanger. She was very, how can I say? She was highly influential music teacher and composer who taught many, many famous musicians like Aaron Copland, I think Philip Glass, Quincy Jones, and she was really known for her strict teaching style and high expectations of her students. Sometimes it's better to have a strict teacher and a more loving parent. What do you think? Let the teacher be the disciplinarian? Because if you're too strict, a parent, and you keep pushing your child to compete, perform all the time, it could damage your relationship,
Yeah, that's true. Then they start seeing the parent as more of the tiger, the disciplinarian, rather than the source of love and support and things like that. A lot of famous kids of tiger parents didn't always have or still don't have the best relationship with their parents. Earlier we were talking about Vanessa Mae. She reportedly sacked her mother as her manager on the eve of her 21st birthday, hoping to have, a better mother-daughter relationship rather than a more like manager-employee kind of thing. Even Lang Lang, I think, as a child, he really struggled with his relationship with his father because his father was primarily just pushing him, sometimes being extremely harsh on him, the kinds of things that he was saying in his old age. I think the father has had a change of heart, maybe some degree of regret.
Right.
But you can't go back and get those years back.
Yeah, but because at some point you have to let go, right? So, but coming back to the teacher's bit, particularly for Chloe, it's clear that her violin teacher, who's the same one she's had since she was little, has played a huge role in her musical career to this date, right? While asking Eng Lee and Marcus some fun questions, we not only got to learn about their favorite places in restaurants, but also got into a conversation about how great a teacher can make a difference.
Should we do a couple of the fun questions before we
Sure,
wrap up?
of course.
So I guess you guys get to travel a lot for competitions, for concerts as well. What is your family's favorite vacation spot?
For us, it will be going to UK because to visit my brother, because I have some family members there. So Chloe gets to meet up with a cousin so they can play, they can go out.
Nothing specific for us. We're still exploring. Every chance you get, right? Every chance you get, you try and visit somewhere new. Maybe you can ask Kevin after 20 years.
So what's the favorite food to enjoy as a family after, say, a successful performance? What's the family celebration meal like?
Oh, usually we go to a Chinese restaurant to celebrate. Yeah, because usually we'll take the violin teacher as well.
And Marcus, your
nothing in particular for me. We eat everything.
Is it? Oh.
Yeah. Mom cooks a lot. Yeah.
But it's nice, Eng Lee, that the teacher is so involved as well, because Khim and I were also talking about how teachers are really an important part of the relationship in progressing a young child prodigy, particularly. Also in terms of the discipline aspect, because I guess as the parent, you don't want to be the chief disciplinarian, always being the one
tiger,
because the chief tiger.
It's our job to read about teachers too of musicians, and some of them, they're the ones with the tiger
Chloe,
stripes.
we are very lucky. Chloe she has a very good chemistry with the teacher. The bonding is really good, and Mr. Inca, he is very good with children. Yeah, he can teach very well. His explanation is always very clear. So although I don't play the violin, I could even understand what we have to do every day or after every lesson. What are the things to correct? He is very clear with his teaching, and that is very important.
Strict, fierce, would you say? No, strict.
I think it's a balance. He has both. Yeah, but for Chloe is somehow she could she gets on well with the teacher. So then whatever instruction that passed out, she is able to do, or she's willingly doing all the corrections and repetitions of things. Yeah, or of course there's bad times, that there are times that when she don't get it, then she will get very anxious, and she would, and then that is a difficult time. And so that is where I will normally come in to help. So I'm kind of like function as a bridge.
Does Kevin still have a teacher now, Marcus, or is he in his 20s now, just on his own?
He's currently in the University of Wisconsin in Milwaukee. His current teacher is a Cuban American professor. Part of the reason why he ended up there, because again, rapport is important. Someone that you can work with. So that's the reason why he's there. So he's doing his graduate school, 2 years
in music. Is it a music course?
Just
guitar?
Classical guitar.
Amazing.
Yeah, guitar. I mean, with some music as well.
Yeah.
So what happened was, he spent a long time in Manihun school, right? Subsequently, he came back for national service. Yeah, full on. He was a combat engineer. And then he managed to get a scholarship to go to Cambridge. And that's where he thought he wanted to do musicology, because he said a lot of people can play, but not a lot of classical guitarists has the musical knowledge. So he went for a full-on musicology degree. And then now he's going back to classical guitar. And probably a few more competitions while he's in the US at the moment.
Yeah, I guess NS would have also been quite a big change as well, like from practicing so much and on your own schedule to suddenly being thrown out there and then getting back into it. So it's amazing.
It's a disruption of sorts.
Yeah, certainly.
Did that set him back a little bit?
Yeah, for sure.
Would you say?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But it's just something that I have to go through. I'm sure he came out stronger. But otherwise, things like you need to get permission to grow nails, to bring your guitar into camp, right? So those things are not as simple as it seems. So because you're so used to playing every day. So in order to maintain that routine is kind of difficult. So sometimes you spend more time at home on weekends to try and maintain the playing.
Yeah, I can imagine the officers going, no music,
cut your nails.
Yeah.
This is the army.
Thank you so much for being with us today,
Thank you.
Lee and Marcus. It's been really, really enlightening.
I think you guys are
your
really,
children.
really amazing. And the kids probably wouldn't be where they are today if not for your backing and support. So it's really an honor and a joy to talk to the parents behind the Prodigies.
Absolutely.
What a great conversation. I think it's really admirable what parents like Eng Lee and Marcus have done. They've clearly nurtured their children in a wonderful, beautiful, supportive way. And it shows, that these kids are doing so well. They're really thriving.
I'm really glad we spoke to them. When it comes to parenting child prodigies, kids do need a bit of a push and discipline, especially when they're young and they aren't always capable of pushing themselves to become proficient, right, in an instrument. But you just got to do it in that loving way. I think that's important.
Yeah, parents need to be careful to ensure that their emotional relationship with their children isn't damaged in the process. You only get one chance with your children. It's better to be loving and supportive and make sure your kids are also getting some balance in their lives. It's, you have two types of musical prodigy kids, the ones who are super focused. Some of them, don't want to do anything else besides practice or play. So it's on the flip side, their parents are the ones who give them some balance, go out, do other things. And the ones who also need a bit of a push to sit down and practice. Parents need to get involved in that as well.
Yeah.
But hope all of you enjoyed that chat. We are really looking forward to seeing Kevin and Chloe's upcoming performances later this year and really watching their careers blossom.
That's right. Thanks for listening in to us, our Symphony Uncensored podcast on raising prodigies.
See you next week. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in to this week's edition of Symphony Uncensored. If you'd like to hear more, you can subscribe to our podcast on the Me Listen app or through other platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. We've been your hosts, Khim Oei and Gaiatri Vijay. Till the next time.